interest.
Absolutely.
I see. Now, I don't know how you feel about us with this no-fly zone in Libya, but I hate Muammar Gaddafi. I think he's a terrible man. I think I've been screaming about him for years. I used to hear Bob Grant on the radio screaming about him for years, and he's really the most despicable human being, and I'm glad to see his people are rising up against him. But listen, there are many countries in this world that don't have oil where the people rise up and we don't do shit.
And there are terrible dictators in those countries, too.
Right. We don't do a thing.
A good one's called Rwanda.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us what's going on in Rwanda. There's an uprising going on there all the time, right?
Well, not anymore. They already killed 1 million people. So there's no one to uprise anymore. They got rid of 500,000 people.
They have no... we have no interest in them economically. Is that
exactly?
What it is?
That's why.
So don't you believe, I don't know your position on this, I don't think we should do shit in Libya because, quite frankly, who knows who's going to come in instead of Gaddafi. Gaddafi's a terrorist. There's no question about it. But these lunatics that are over there that are going to come into power could be 50 times worse. I say stay the fuck out of that crazy part of the world.
Howard, I say exactly. I say even more than that. Let's get out of Afghanistan and Iraq, too.
Right. It's time.
Bring everybody home. And let's take care. There's an old cliche. How do you go out and tell the world what to do if your own backyard ain't cleaned up?
Listen, you're a guy who actually was in service. And while you don't say it, I think you actually had to kill some people and blow some shit up. I
did most of that after the service.
All right. Whatever you had to do, you've actually
The service just prepared me for the rest of life.
You
Howard.
know what war is.
Sure.
So that's maybe why you're sensitive to this. This ain't easy to go over to Iraq and sit there and try to keep peace between maniacs. Is that true?
Well, first of all, if you look at, in fact, I can shamelessly plug the book.
Yes, 63 referred to 63 because of 1963.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
And the last document is the RAND Corporation.
Right.
And they did a whole, which normally our government follows. Anything the RAND Corporation is written in stone.
Right.
Well, the RAND Corporation did a study and found that stopping terrorism, the military's only successful 6% of the time.
Right.
And yet we've put all our eggs in that basket. You can't stop terrorism by invading countries and occupying them, especially over there.
Doesn't make sense.
You're going to create more terrorists.
Right. You're saying that, listen, terrorism's going to exist. What they're going to do is come over here, make a car bomb, do something weird. Being over there basically does it. George Bush had the theory that if we fight them over there, they're not going to come over here. That was his theory.
Well,
Sounded kind of silly.
I'm waiting for one of these countries to, bring the landing crafts and, land at Norfolk or, what do they think? They're going to do a Normandy invasion on the U.S.?
Well, you've always said at 9/11, now you don't understand how a government this large and this powerful couldn't figure out that planes were coming to attack.
Well, all the documentation I've looked at said we knew well ahead of time that it was going to happen as early as May and June. You had the infamous August 6th memo when Condoleezza Rice said, I had no idea what they were going to do. Excuse me, it said right on the memo.
There were people who did call and say, hey, there's a bunch of guys training and they're learning how to fly planes.
And they don't want to learn to land.
And they're and they don't want to learn to land, and they're Middle Eastern types.
Yeah, and it was brought up to the attention, and we turned